Collective. This message isn't for everybody, but it is going to be for a lot of people out there, and I hope that this does reach who it is intended for, okay? One of your parents were toxic, and the other one was nurturing, but over time they turned toxic just like your other parent, okay? And this is something that maybe you've recognized over time and you realized, within your family dynamic over time, you realize this. But basically, yeah, one of your parents was the toxic one. It could have been your father that was the a toxic, abusive one, or it could have been your mother. And the other one was the loving, nurturing one, right? And so maybe growing up, you were closer to one of your parents over the other one. You trusted one of them more than the other one. You could feel more comfortable or open to one of them over the other one, right? Um, but I'm also picking up that over time, like the one that you felt like you could trust, the nurturing one, over time, they started to grow um, more bitter, more hard. They were never even the nurturing one, even although they were nurturing to you, because of the toxic parent, they were never really emotionally available for you, right? So they appeared to be nurturing, they were nurturing enough, but you still you could only get so far with them. You know what I'm saying? So you really couldn't open up too much because maybe they were still judgmental. Maybe they still wanted to try to correct every little thing that you did. Maybe you were the type of person you couldn't even express yourself. You couldn't be yourself. You know what I'm saying? You always had to fix yourself. There was always something wrong with you. You always had to dim your light because it irritated your toxic parents' spirit. And you might have had other siblings and they could be themselves. They could still express themselves and enjoy being a kid. But you, for some reason, you were the target. For you, for some reason, you couldn't still do the same things that your other siblings could do. You didn't get to enjoy life the way that your other siblings got to enjoy life, right? You might have still went to the movies when they went to the movies. You might have still went to the amusement park when they went to the amusement park sometimes. You know what I'm saying? But overall, you were the one that was still left out of things. You were the one that was still put to the back burner, right? You were the one who was still the second thought, the afterthought, the one that everyone thought of last. Maybe you were someone that, like, in your family, let's say, like, at breakfast or dinner, like when dinner was ready or it was time to get up for breakfast in school, like you were the like they didn't include you. Like you might have been the sibling that they didn't let know dinner was ready, or they didn't get up for school, or maybe they didn't save you your portion of the food. You know what I'm saying? Like they hurry up and ate up all the cereal before you got to it. You might have been like that. Like you were the one who was bullied in your family. You know what I'm saying? And it was due to your toxic parent. And that effect had the effect on the other parent, which had an effect on your other siblings. So now they're all treating you the same way, because if they don't treat you that way, then they're going to be treated that way by the toxic parent. So it was like one bullying. It was like one big bully targeting you, and if they didn't fall in line and treat you how they were, then they would get treated like that. So they were forced. It was almost like your parents and your other siblings had no choice but to treat you that way. And was it acceptable? No, absolutely not. Should they have done that? No, absolutely they shouldn't have. They should have actually spoke up and stood up for you. You know what I'm saying? Because they spoke up for the other siblings. You know what I'm saying? Your parents spoke up for the other. Maybe your other parents had favoritism. You weren't their favorite, all because of who you are. You didn't look like or act like the other siblings. You are the one who didn't accept what your parents were telling you at face value. Like maybe you were somebody who challenged them and challenged their beliefs, just by you being you. And this is what triggered their demons. And so that's why you became a problem early on. It had nothing to do with who you are. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just basically what you were doing to them. What you were literally a reflection of everything that your parents were not. You were a reflection of who your parents could have been. You know what I'm saying? And this was all early on in life. Like from a young age, you were different. You must have had different qualities about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you must have been that just overly joyous, overly energetic child, you know what I'm saying, that brought the joy to your family's home, but your family rejected you because of it. You were too happy, you were too joyful, like you did something to their spirit, and so they targeted for you instead of, and it was misplaced anger. Collective, they treated you away because it was misplaced anger. Instead of facing their insecurities, instead of addressing what was going on inside of them, their internal turmoil, they used you as the scapegoat to blame you for everything that was going wrong. So you couldn't even enjoy being happy around your family, collective, because when you were, it was a threat to them. Every time that you were happy, then they tried to dim your light in some way. They would try to say something offensive, do something to get under your skin, all to make you feel low again. You know what I'm saying? And you dealt with this constantly, continuously out of your life. Things will be going good in your life. Here you go sharing information with your family, and now the plans have fell through. You are starting to realize that a lot of your plans were stopped because your family was stopping them. You were leaking your information to your hating a family, and they were blocking your plans on the back end. You were telling them everything on the front end, and then they were going on the back end and doing you dirty and doing you shady. And some of them would smile in your face and ask you, "Oh, hey, so how's that going?" And then you would tell them the disappointment, and that would excite them even more. These people were playing in your face. Your parents would play in your face all the time. So you got wise, collective. You stopped involving yourself with them. Like you literally start waking up and saying, like, wait a minute, these people don't really love me. They claim they love me, but their actions aren't matching up. And you have always bumped head with your parents all off and on throughout your life. But you finally wisened up and woken up and saying, hey, all right, you had a final straw recently, collective, with them. And where it opened your eyes to realize, like, listen, I don't need y'all. I never did need y'all. Y'all always hated on me. Y'all always never wanted the best for me. And you know what I'm saying? Like, this is you now. Like, so I feel like you've empowered yourself, collective, by going within and taking your power back by becoming a wholesome person and not allowing them to affect you in your life. You know, you allowed that pain that you've experienced from your parents and what you went through, and you've allowed that to propel you to become the person that you are today, collective. And you have no regrets for cutting them off, because you know you've done all you can. You've tried everything that you can. You've exhausted all of your resources trying to mend relationships that you never destroyed in the first place. You were putting in all the effort to try to fix something that they knew that they didn't want no business trying to fix anyway. So you woke up and you got wise and said, you know what, I'm not doing none of that. Y'all don't care, so I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Even after all these years later, they're still trying to play in your face, still trying to get around you. You've cut some of y'all, collective, you've distanced yourself from your parents, and then they changed their ways for a little bit, and then once you got back into their good graces again, here they come again with their toxic ways over again. And sometimes they got more subtle, or sometimes they got more silent, and they got more creative with getting toxic. Maybe they weren't toxic the same way, but they did it another way. You know what I'm saying? And you picked up on it, you know, and you recently had like this aha moment, like, you know what, I had enough. I'm not dealing with y'all no more because y'all are fake and phony. And collective, I don't blame you for that. Don't let your parents guilt trip you, or don't let other people guilt trip you into being obligated because they're your parents. If they are childish and toxic in nature and don't want the best for you and have not changed in their behavior, they do not deserve the same access to you and your light, because you were a light in their life for so long and they abused you for so much. They used you up and sucked you dry, and you had to pour back into yourself. You had to bring yourself back to that point. You had to connect with God and work with Him to revitalize your life again. You cannot allow them to come back in and suck you dry again. It's not worth it. It's not, it ain't going to happen. It will never happen, collective. And you know this. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know this. And it's so sad because even maybe some of y'all seen how one of your parent over time, their spirit has just deteriorated. Now they're an empty soul, just like the other toxic parent. Before, they used to be so vibrant and youthful and loving and glowing, but because they wanted to stay attached to that energy vampire, toxic parent number one, your other toxic parents, that toxic parent sucked your nurturing parent dry. So now you got two toxic, bitter, old, basic, know nothing parents. So it's okay. You know what I'm saying? You are teaching your parents how to live, and you're showing your parents, it's almost like they're the student and you're the teacher. You know what I'm saying? Because the way that their mindset is, how childish they still think. You know what I'm saying? And you're more mature than them. Like, that just don't make no sense. It's really sad out here. Like, you're actually mothering and fathering your parents without even knowing it. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, collective. Like, it is. But, you know, it's made you the person you are today. It's made you this invincible, indestructible person. And now you don't regret it. Before, you used to hate your life, and you used to be so sad and down and out by how your life started. But now the way that your life is starting to evolve and grow, you realize why you had to go through that. You realize that everything that you've experienced has brought you to where you are now. And now you're having a full circle moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's a beautiful thing. You know, you've turned what was supposed to destroy you into actually what has pushed you along into your destiny. I know that there are people out there who feel me, who can relate to this, who are going through it with their parents. Maybe some of y'all who are battling with staying in your parents' life. You don't know if you should or not. You don't know if it's worth it. Any of that. But, you know, you have to do what's best for you at the end of the day. And you always have to practice self-preservation and preserve your peace of mind and your state of wealth and your state of being before you can reach out and pour into anyone else. Okay. So, you know, if you have any questions, if you can relate, or you want to share your information or experiences, drop down below in the comments, share your experiences, ask your questions. You know, let's start a conversation in the comments, because there are other people out here who are looking for answers, looking for guidance, who went through experiences like us with our parents, and they don't know how to navigate those murky waters. And there are people like us who've went through that and know how to navigate that and know how to get through life and get to where we need to. So let's just have discussions down in the comments below. You know, we can help other people out there who are hurting. Listen, if this is your first time here, I hope that you subscribe. And if you are returning, y'all know how we do over here. Thank y'all so much for continuing to support and to comment and to share my videos. Road to 1K. Let's get it, y'all. I freaking love y'all. Thank y'all so much. It's Kar. I'm signing out. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.